In this video, we're going to take a quick look at a couple of folding knives from the folks at First Edge. We've got an assisted opening and automatic. That's coming up on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me. So you may have seen the interview I did at SHOT Show with the folks at First Edge and another one at Blade Show this year. They're actually a knife supplier to the United States Navy SEALs, and they've got a couple of fixed blades and they've got some really cool folders, and we're going to take a look at a couple of their folders in this video. We've got the assisted opening Tonto blade and the automatic Tonto blade with the serrations on this one. But before we get down to the old stump top and do some knife stuff, I do want to talk about a couple of things. Okay, so let's just get right to it. First of all, this knife, I believe it was assisted opening. It may have been a manual, but it was featured in a video on another channel, and where the tip broke. You know, it was stabbed into a pallet and wiggled out. You know, just doing a tip strength test that a lot of people do, and the tip snapped off. I'm sure that it wasn't intentional abuse or anything like that, but it was really got a lot of criticism because this is not a cheap knife. It's in the $300 range. Got a lot of criticism saying it shouldn't have broken. I can tell you, I don't necessarily agree that it shouldn't have broken. You know, I did a tip test with a Survival, full tank Survival, and stabbed it into a down oak log that was still very solid, and almost dug a hole, and it didn't break, because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to be very strong and like a pry bar. This, on the other hand, is not. It's a very thin tip on this blade. You know, I know people do those tip tests, and I know there may be other knives that pass them, but that doesn't necessarily mean that if it doesn't pass them, it's a failure, it's not a good knife. Because really and truly, in my opinion, you know, that's not the intended use for a knife like this. It's not to pry and dig. You know, if that's your intended use, then maybe this isn't a knife for you. The primary intended function for this knife, for a Tonto tip especially, is stabbing straight through. And by the way, I've never been in the military. I'm not a tactical guy. I'm not an operator. I'm not law enforcement. But I've read that the soft ballistic armor, that even though it will stop a bullet, that a knife will penetrate right through it because of the sharpness of the point. It just moves the whatever aside, the fibers, I guess, or the Kevlar aside. So, and this is primarily intended to cut strap, to cut rope, to cut things that need to be cut, and maybe to stab with. It's not a pry bar. It's not intended to be a pry bar, and I don't think it's necessarily a failure if it breaks when being used as a pry bar, even a gentle, sort of a gentle pry bar. It's just not what it's designed for. I can tell you, I've carried the automatic now for, gosh, 4 months, using it a lot, cutting stuff with it, doing what I need to do with it, with no issues. I really like the knife. Of course, I've not tried to pry on a pallet with it. That's just not something I'm going to do with it. And one more quick thing about that, I did talk to the folks at First Edge about that, and they were able to replicate the breakage by prying this thing. So they've actually come out with a different blade design that is also available, that actually, instead of this Tonto here, it just cuts off a little more. It says it's a little bit stronger, but still, as thin as this thing is, it's not even an 1/8 of an inch thick, and it tapers down because of this Tonto point. If you try it, it can still break. And they were pretty honest about that to me. But they also showed me a video that they took, an internal video, and I don't know if it's on the internet anywhere or not, but they took one of these knives with a sledgehammer, a metal sled, like a 2-pound hand sledgehammer, and basically chopped through a steel bolt with it. And when you got done, they showed close-ups of the edge, and the edge was in fine shape. At least it was in fine enough shape you couldn't see any visible damage, except for a little bit on the finish. And I saw them do the same thing with the Survival knife through a piece of rebar, and then shave hair off their arm with it. It's which was pretty impressive to me. So that was one concern about these folding knives, that the tip did break, and they said, yep, it'll break if you do that. It's not designed for that. And that's just the way it is. If you need a knife that'll do that, then this may not be the knife for you. And I think that's honest on their part, and I can respect that. A couple of other quick concerns was that the thumb stud here, if you got it in your pocket, it catches on your pocket when it's coming out. And they're actually fixing that. They're going to remove one thumb stud. I'm only going to have it on the right-hand side because it's essentially a right-handed knife only. I'm sorry for your lefties out there. Another issue that was brought up on that same video, which by the way I 100% agreed with, and I told the folks at First Edge that I agreed with it, was that the wording on their warranty seemed like it seemed like it was written by a team of lawyers to cover their butt 6 ways from Sunday, to be honest with you. And actually, the folks at First Edge agreed and said, look, you know, our intention is to warranty our stuff. We just did a bad job of vetting the wording on that warranty. So anyway, they revised their warranty. Here's what the new warranty says. We want you to be 100% satisfied with your First Edge experience. Our fixed blade knives are designed to withstand heavy extreme use. If your knife fails, we will repair or replace it free of charge, no questions asked, forever. Our folding knives are tough and are designed for powerful precision cutting. If your folding knife fails to perform due to a defect and doesn't meet your expectations, we will repair or replace your knife free of charge forever. We don't expect our knives to fail, but if this happens, we will take care of you. You know, I've said this before in a couple of videos, but like we say down here in Georgia, it don't get no better than that. So anyway, I just thought those points were worth addressing before we get to doing some of that knife stuff. So anyway, they're not bushcraft knives. We're not gonna baton with them. We're not gonna build fires or whatnot. Let's just get down to the old stump top and do some regular knife stuff. Okay, first of all, I'm going to show you the lock system on these knives, which is really cool. And you can actually see it easier on the automatic. And basically, to actuate the automatic, I'm trying to do this in the camera, it's got a little button here. You just pull that button down, and what happens is you can see the button is now down here. So this is actually the lock, and it travels with the blade. So there's I can't tell you exactly how it works because it's patented, but this thing is a solid pin that goes through the blade. And there's a track cut in here. It's called a Tracklock. So this thing it protrudes here, period. It goes through the liner. It absolutely 100% locks up. There's only one moving part. There's a spring in there, and it's kind of a cool configuration. But basically now, when you push it in, this button is actually locking up, sliding in a track, and now it pushes up there and locks. So when you open it, it moves down and locks in the stainless steel liner. And it absolutely is tough as nails. The assisted openings are the same way. It's just right now the lock is up here and the track is covered up. You can't see it because it's not automatic. But when you give it a little room, it does the same thing and opens up very positively. And then to release the lock, you just push it up and close it. It says G10 handles. It's Elmax steel, which is Swedish steel, very, very, very high-end powdered steel. Rockable hardness of like 60 plus. 61 to 62, I think. Stainless steel liners, and again, everything about this is just very high quality materials, high quality workmanship, made right here in the United States in California. Has a tip up carry, of course, and very high quality fasteners. And it's also available in just a straight manual without the assisted opening. So depending on where you live and what's legal in your area, might be help you make a decision on which one you'd like to get if you want to get one of these knives. They're around the $300-something mark, and I don't know exact, depending upon which one. I think the automatic is the most expensive, and the manual would be obviously the least expensive. But let's take a look, and they also have an option now. You can either get serrated or non-serrated, and they have a drop point version too. You can take a look at my Blade Show video and check those out. I'll put a link below. But let's just do some knife stuff. Can you see that? Because it's shaving sharp right now. Okay, so now let's do a little cutting with it. Cut. I mean, it's just crazy, crazy sharp. Serrations or not serrations. Either one is sharp or not sharp. Try it now. Still sharp. How about some paracord? Everybody likes to cut paracord. Here's some right here. Let's see. Just like butter. Try 2 short pieces. It's hard to cut the short ones for me because I can't hardly hold them. We'll try that end right there. It's like butter. How about some seatbelt material? This could be a handy knife to have with you if you're trapped. Like butter. How about some paper? Not the best paper here. Chuck Norris doesn't dial the wrong number. You answered the wrong phone. Okay, one silly test and we'll stop. Because I just can't help myself. This is some really bad wood, dude, but it'll carve a feather. Okay, if we're going to be silly, let's just be silly. Tonto tip can really come in handy for a lot of different things. So now I don't know if this is going to work at all, but we'll see. What do you know? Even does a little bit of bushcraft stuff. Okay, well that's a quick look at the First Edge Tracklock folding knife in assisted opening and automatic. I gotta say, in my opinion, these are very, very high quality knives, very well made, excellent materials, excellent workmanship, and they're not cheap, but I do think they're a good value if you're looking for a really solid, well-made knife. Now, if you need to tear down pallets, this is not your tool, okay? But if you just need a knife that's got very, very high edge retention, very good quality steel, exceptionally well made, and just a solid lock, and it's cool too. You might want to check out the Tracklock folding knives from the folks at First Edge. Thanks to the folks at First Edge for sending me these so I can show them to you. And as always, thank you for watching Survival on Purpose. Thanks for subscribing. If you haven't done so, I invite you to. I put out a new video every Friday, every Saturday, and usually a couple of random ones throughout the week. As a subscriber, you have the opportunity to be notified whenever I put out a new video, random or otherwise. And also, as always, thank you so very much for supporting the channel by doing all your Amazon shopping through the Survival on Purpose links at survivalonpurpose.com/Amazon. Takes you straight to Amazon. You shop like normal, doesn't cost you anything extra, and just helps the channel a little bit. You can also help support the channel and get yourself a free audiobook download by checking out a free 1-month trial subscription to audible.com. There'll be a link in the description below, and I really appreciate your support. Once again, my name's Brian. You're watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival is not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time. You know, I would question the mental health of anybody that just doesn't like that. Just like butter,